What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Scythe, and today we're starting off the new year with LUXION's first visit. Is it going to be anything spectacular for 2019? No, it's actually pretty bad. It's just kind of the usual stuff that you would expect from LUXION. Unfortunately, however, we do get to see that he consistently seems to have sentient shards and metamatter, which is nice that he consistently has these items. However, I personally think that it is a little bit lazy that he's just got these 3 items always filled up every single time he visits, which essentially means that he has less items for us to actually buy that are going to end up affecting new or old players, I should say. So for old school players that are on PC, none of this stuff's new. Absolutely none of it. Nothing new from LUXION this time, so better luck next time, PC players. But for console players, there's going to be quite a few items out of here that are going to be worthwhile. And most of all, for starting players, there's going to be a lot of stuff that's worthwhile. So one of the biggest things that I want to note right here, right now, is that in my my season 2 of Trove on my Let's Play series, where I started the game again and I'm a completely free-to-play player, lots of people were asking me what ally I was actually talking about using on my Candy Barbarian, which in fact was the Golden Horde Dragonling, which is one of the best starting physical damage allies you can end up getting for a considerably easy sum, because all you need to do is spend like 30 dragon coins or something like that in order to end up getting enough of them to get the where is it, the first badge, which you just need, oh no, not the first badge, the second one. So you need 5 of his dragon souls in order to end up getting the ally unlocked, and this ally is going to end up giving you 20% physical damage, increased cooldown recovery speed by 10%, which reduces cooldown. I don't know why they renamed it to that. It's really confusing now. But then it also has a chance to fire blast enemies. It's a very, very useful ally if you're a just starting character and you're a melee character. Honestly, it's super duper easy to get it, especially compared to the alternatives for melee characters, which is going to end up being the Raptor Berserker as well as Little Burgie. And Little Burgie is one that LUXION will rarely end up selling here and there. And then, of course, there's just going to end up being the dragon itself, which I'll show you the maxed out dragon for having all 100 of LUXION's dragon souls, but generally it's going to be pretty difficult to get this just because it's very, very time gated. LUXION's only going to visit every two times a month, and he's only here for 72 hours when he does visit. But it's a pretty cool dragon overall, and I do like the video effects of the fireballs where it actually has flux coming down. It's kind of cool in that this dragon is kind of the old school dragons. So for those of you that didn't know, but the original dragons that were being added to Trove all had this whole dragon souls thing, and as you ended up getting further and further into the dragon badges, you would end up getting like the mount with the fledgling, which of course it can't fly or shoot fireballs or anything like that. Then you would get the weapons. Then you would end up getting not the legendary dragon, but the adult dragon. So that one could glide, but it couldn't shoot fireballs. And then you would end up getting well, the other dragons were different, but with LUXION you end up getting the dragon stats themselves, and then finally you end up getting LUXION, which is the dragon that has the ability to end up shooting fireballs. This was the original dragons that they ended up adding to the game. They all ended up following suit with this whole soul thing, and I just wanted to point that out because I've noticed a lot of people, well, not really that much, but some people here and there are very confused about how you actually end up getting LUXION. So in total, you need to get 100 of his dragon souls, which is going to be roughly 400 dragon coins or something like that. But the problem is that you can only buy 15 dragon souls from him per each visit. So that's where it becomes extremely time-gated and difficult to end up doing. Same with the metamatter, you can only end up getting 10. It's 25 dragon coins a pop, which is pretty expensive. I wouldn't recommend a new player to end up going for this. Maybe a medium to intermediate player would end up going for this, but honestly speaking, I mean, metamatter is just like a really difficult, grindy resource to get that unfortunately doesn't really have that much of a trade-off. That's the biggest reason why I don't really recommend going for it, because with the sentient shards, on the other hand, you're going to be able to get quite a few things by just getting your sentient shards up. You'll be able to have access to mounts, allies, and more importantly, the Vanguard class, if you actually want to go the route of crafting him, because sentient shards are essentially going to be another time-gated resource that you can rarely get from rampages, etc., right? So anyways, there's the Zealous emblem. This one's pretty good. It restores all energy spent, so you can use it on certain characters. It's not really an end game emblem that you end up using, but it is something worth getting just if you don't have it, because of course it's going to end up giving you mastery. But Unyielding emblem, now the funny thing is Unyielding, as far as I remember, was actually in the store. It was in the cash shop, and you could buy it for cubits, if I'm not mistaken. It's been such a long time, so somebody correct me if I'm wrong in the comments down below. Would appreciate it. But the Unyielding emblem is one of the essential emblems, so definitely get this for yourself. And if you can spare it, I would recommend that you maybe buy 1 or 2 of these just so you can sell it on the market. After a while, these are going to end up increasing in value just because of the fact that it's going to be one of the most useful emblems in the entire game. It basically grants you brief invulnerability. So you know how in most games, whenever you end up taking damage, you've got a brief invulnerability just so that you can't just get spammed by enemies? Well, in Trove, you can just get spammed by enemies. And I mean, this right here just makes it an excuse that, oh, well, an emblem already covers that, you know, and essentially ends up making it so that you can use this to get through Ultra Shadow Towers, because otherwise you just get absolutely annihilated by all the enemies, right? So you could just pop a flask and then you're basically invincible for a little while. Then there's going to be the Pedigree Pack Rat. It's a rat mount, so I don't like it. I personally don't like any of the rat mounts. I don't like that any of these are even in the game. I find them to be strange, but that's just because for my personal preference, I don't really like rats as pets. Like, I just think it's like, I don't know, it just makes me think of Splinter or something, and honestly, this makes me think more of a mouse than a rat, but maybe that's just me. Either way, it's kind of cool in that it's an adventure pet, so it's kind of got a nice wobbly butt with it trying to carry your little shovel and your little equipment and stuff like that. So I like things like that. I like the little chest on the back and all those nice little details, but the mount itself, I don't really care. I think the other reason I don't really like them is that the Platypus was the first mount in the game that was actually this low, where your view doesn't actually go up vertically at all when you end up getting on your mount. It's pretty much the exact same height. And that's one of the big things that I don't like about it, just because you're so low to the ground that it makes it a little bit difficult to kind of navigate. Or at least I just find it to be that slight bit of annoying, just because I'm just nitpicking now. It really isn't that big of a deal. Then there's going to be the Cygnus Sail and the Cygnus Skyship, which I didn't even know. But if you type in the Cygnus, there's actually quite a few things that are related to this, that are actually not entirely created by the same person that ended up making the boat. The boat was made by that guy, which I don't know which, like this Revenant costume was made by a player, despite the fact that it doesn't say the player, it doesn't give credit to the player. I forget who ended up making this, but I just think that it's kind of cool that we've got these various items that are kind of this Cygnus, which I have absolutely no idea what it is. You know, I guess Cygnus is just supposed to be like Skyworld or Radiant or something like that, because the Trove has all sorts of things like this, where the lore, quote unquote, of Trove is essentially all of the modders kind of linking themselves together and making a tentacle costume for one character, for example, because the fact that Trove kind of has these tentacle creatures in like 1 or 2 different areas. And unfortunately, and this is just me nitpicking again, that old Scythe rant, I wish that we had a costume based on every biome for every character, or at least a costume based on the biome of the character that is related to that biome. So for example, Cursed Veil is related to the Tomb Raiser, so we should have a Cursed Veil type of costume. Maybe it makes you look like the enemies or something. I don't know, who cares? But either way, there's going to be the boat. You're definitely going to want to go for that, because that's a lot of free mastery. Where is some water? Over here is going to end up being some water, because that's all frozen, right? Which, we got the nice winter hub as well, which is pretty cool. This thing's also got a cannon. This originally, I forget whether or not, I think this was a daily login token boat, or at least it is trying to be one, because that, you know, that big aura or ring on the back of it was kind of from that. Everyone originally thought when we saw this mod get added to the game, in all honesty, we were thinking this was going to be like a Gonda related, you know, maybe a Trove of Wonder thing that would end up getting added to the game. Unfortunately, it does not go the extra mile of having the cannon itself be golden or detailed or anything like that, which we have seen seen some boats actually do have a unique cannon on the front of it, not to mention a unique fireball and video effects for the cannon shots themselves. I'd like to see this one actually do that, and I think that boats in general could end up doing stuff like that, even though, I mean, honestly speaking, if we're talking about the boats, like, nobody really uses them that much. You kind of use them in the water world just because if you're not using, like, a speed build of another character, then, of course, the boats are going to end up being useful. But, personally speaking, one thing I've always thought that the boats needed to be since day one, in all honesty, was they need to operate the exact same as a mount does, but in water. Wouldn't that be great if you could just turn on a dime and just control yourself to go in different directions? And then there is an auto walk in this game. I'm actually going hands-free right now and just moving my mouse around, and it's very, very useful. I use the auto walk all the time, dude. I guess the average player doesn't really even know that it exists, honestly. But anyways, that's enough rambling. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. LUXION doesn't really have... he's kind of got a disappointing start of the year, but hey, whatever. You know, at least we've got ourselves, so far, a pretty cool-looking 2019. Maybe not necessarily for Trove specifically, but... either way, you know, I'm as happy as a clam because we got the U10 update, and hopefully it's coming out very, very soon for consoles as well. So please stop asking. I'm not a developer. I don't know the release date of the update, and nobody actually does, except for the developers, in which case their official word is, we don't know. Thanks for watching, though, everybody. Very much appreciate it. Sayonara, and stay epic.